Kurt Busch has now led 31 laps in the Blue Deuce, and Mark Martin has closed up to within 0.4 of a second as they lap past Joey Logano. Reed Sorensen started 36th. He is up to 20th. Martin Truex Jr. has also gained 16 positions.
And just look at that 26 car, Jamie McMurray. This is a nice recovery for them for the entire weekend, because right as the track opened for practice yesterday, there you see Jamie right there, he got into the wall. And
Trouble turn 2.
It's
David
like
Stremme.
Stremme in the 12 car just went around over there.
Caution is out.
Got some coming outside.
That'll be the third caution of the day. Didn't see it start. Stremme was way sideways off turn 2.
You know who really loved that caution?
Right there.
Yes, sir. Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was the next victim to our leader, Kurt Busch.
I can't even touch the entrance of the corner.
Off to the right of your screen, you'll see Stremme enter the picture. And
yeah, you see him right here.
Yep.
He just loses it off of 2, which is, you kind of get a big handful of steering wheel coming up out there in throttle under power, and all of a sudden the back end will jump out with you. That's what happened to him. That's a classic push loose.
Yeah, finally those front wheels bite, and you've got the wheel turned so far the car just gets loose with you.
And Larry, I really believe we're seeing this same thing we've seen a number of times. The cooler it gets, the looser you get.
Stremme was running 23rd. He was solidly on the lead lap. As we now have the third caution of the night, Joey Logano will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap when we restart. That'll put 34 cars on the lead lap.
But Darrell, I almost think, I don't know that they're getting looser. It's just like the front tires start gaining the grip. And the rear tires are not gaining as much grip as the front tires are.
I think you're right. It's got more pressure on the front tires, makes the thing want to spin out.
I'll pass on a quick get well wish to Tanya Edmondson, who handles all our Fox Sports travel, doing a little sheet time, and Mike Paz, longtime public address voice of the ISC tracks. Get well soon. All right, pit road's open. Steve Burns.
Like Tony Stewart just said, I've gotten loose on entry, so they've made air pressure adjustments to that number 14, his tires. He also wants a windshield tear off, Matt.
Head to the 4-box, Kurt Busch, the leader. His biggest complaint, bugs on the racetrack. He wants a clean windshield. No other changes for the 2. Meanwhile, the 48 at Johnson, he says his car is tight, but in a small window down to 1 and 2. Dick.
And just before that caution flag flew, Mark Martin got on the radio and told his crew the car is good, good, good. He was closing in on the lead. Meanwhile, car number 16, Greg Biffle, has not yet left his pit. He just got out now. He had been in the 3rd position. Biffle has been struggling with that race car all night. It's been tight, it's been loose, but he has somehow or another hung on, and until just now, the crew had picked him up spots.
Thanks, Dick. Martin Truex having a bit of trouble there on pit road. We'll revisit it. As he comes out, David Stremme coming in, and there's the collision. Here's the restart. Kurt Busch, Martin Truex Jr., who changed just 2 tires. Despite that bump getting out of the pits, he came out second and run second, with Mark Martin third, David Rudiman, Tony Stewart the top 5.
David Rudiman in the 00 car, that group as well went with just 2 right side tires. They had about 30 laps on their tires. I think everybody's realized it. Jeff Hammond talked about it in the pre-race. Track position, so important.
Yeah, we see that with our leader. I mean, Mark led until he got past in the pits. 2 took the lead, and now he's out front, sort of uncontested.
And you want to find out now, you want to test the waters now, how those 2 tires work, and I'm sure a lot of eyes will be watching how they work.
I got a pretty good idea how to work, but we'll see how it plays out.
You see Jimmy Johnson, who came into the pits 4th and came out 13th. Montoya but loose there in the 42. Let's show you what happened on Johnson's pit stop. Keep an eye on the right rear. Jeremy West is the tire changer. And on the exchange, there goes a lug nut to the ground. Picks it up, put it on, drops again. And finally, he hammers it home. but that cost them 9 positions.
But that's the way to do it. Don't let the car leave and have to come back. And you saw that NASCAR official right there watching every move that they were making, make sure those 5 lug nuts were in contact with the wheel. Hammond
was showing me earlier over at Hollywood Hotel over at his cutaway car. He's got a great demonstration. Let's go over there and let him show us what's going on.
Well, Darryl, what we're talking about here is last year, we've talked about this all year long, NASCAR made a rule change and told the teams they had to add extra threads outside the lug nuts. Right now, this is what we're looking at. You see the extra threads that are sticking out past this lug nut? Every team has to do that. That's mandatory. This is the way it was run last year. You can see no threads. And what has happened, a lot of these teams, it's thrown off their rhythm. Going around this wheel, you've got 5 lug nuts you're trying to take off. These extra threads, it's almost like hitting an extra, a 6th extra nut on this wheel. And it's really messed up the hand and eye coordination of a lot of these teams. And when they get in a situation like the 48 car, a lot of the coaches are telling me that's the reason why. The rhythm is getting all messed up, and they're laying a lot of blame on these extra threads on these wheels.
Thanks, Jeff. It begs the question, why did NASCAR make this rule change?
I think it was more of a safety item. You know, they wanted to make sure teams get so creative with lug nuts and lug studs, just trying to speed a pit stop up. I just think that's the biggest reason they did it, maybe a safety standpoint.
When you saw the threads outside the lug nuts that Jeff showed us, what teams were doing, they were cutting that back further and further to where you basically only had 2 or 3 threads holding that nut on. But all you had to do is just hit it one time and it was tight.
So safety was compromised. Kurt Busch, your leader, as you ride with Carl Edwards in 16th.
The Subway Fresh Fit 500 on Fox is sponsored by Subway, home of the famous $5 footlong. Subway, race hard, eat fresh.